It is time for something new. We have made melon puppet heads, we have made bog standardly normal puppet heads, but today we're going to go one step further as we make a muzzle puppet head for our brand new dragon puppet. So let's get started. If all goes to plan, we should be coming up with something like this. This is a classic muzzle skull that can be used for kind of any creature that has a bit of a nostril situation. I was lucky enough to make one last year. His name was Rex. He was an Australian dinosaur, but that was before I started this show. So we're gonna start again from fresh, and we are gonna be making our sleepy dragon, who still needs a name, by the way. I've asked you a lot on Instagram and YouTube, but I want to keep it open one more time. This is the last time that you're going to be able to suggest a name. If you do have any name suggestions for our sleepy little guy, please pop them down below so I can see them and peruse, and the lucky winner shall be picked for next time. But today we're going to be focusing on making this. But before we do, the obligatory disclaimer: I use a mixture of very professional and incredibly unprofessional methods when making anything I've ever worked on ever. If you see something here today that works for you, that's amazing, but if you see something that you just can't stand, that's completely fine. This is just how I make mine. So with that said, we will progress. So this is the shape that we're going for today, and to get started we're gonna need some foam. I will link down below where you can get some good foam from Amazon, but today I didn't get my foam from Amazon. I got my foam from a man in a shed at a market. For some reason he just had loads of foam to get rid of, and I said, how much do you have of thin foam? And he said, how much do you want? Now I've already used a good chunk of it to make Ramona, which was our live hand puppet that is now on her way to becoming a film star. I've still got loads left, and this is what I'm going to use. You kind of want roughly this sort of width. I will put the actual measurements on the screen now for your perusal if you are looking to get foam of your own, and I will link in the description a good foam to get on Amazon as well. But we want something kind of this sort of thinliness. You might hate that sound, I'm terribly sorry. So I'm gonna want kind of a decent portion of it for today, but I don't want all of it because it is horrifically in the way. So I'm just gonna get my scissors and cut a large section of it, and we're going to go from here and we're going to draw on our pattern. I have a folder called Skull Patterns, Heads and also Mouths, which is where I keep all of my different options for puppet making. There's some great options for muzzles out there, and once again I shall link in the description below options for you to peruse, but these are the ones that I'm going to use today. The pattern is from My Puppet Factory, and it's a really good pattern to use. It's a bit complicated, but we're going to go through it step by step and take our time, so that if you do get confused you can just fall back on me to rely on, which is something that I'm not good at. However, we'll get through it. So much like our melon skull that we did for our cupcake Clive, this might be a little bit complicated in advance, so I ask you to bear with me, but we're going to take it slowly, we're going to take it easy, and hopefully we will get out the other side with something that looks like this. You'll see that it is kind of a basic normal skull shape with this muzzle on the end inserted on, and it is comprised of two sides, as any puppet skull usually is. So I'm going to draw two of each, one facing one way, one facing the other way, so that we can connect them. It is time for a section that many of you do enjoy but many of you can't stand. I'm going to be drawing my pattern out on the foam with a Sharpie, and I'm really sorry if you don't like this sound, but if you do like this sound, crank it. Oh, listen to that. Go all the way around my shape. If we can take a closer look at the pattern here, I just want to explain something to you that may help you out or may confuse you terribly. See what you think. Around this pattern we've got little letters, and literally it may be a bit confusing, but all that means is when push comes to shove and we connect this all together, A connects with A. So you think this is going to be foam, and then A is going to connect together. B connects with B here, and then these X's are corresponding to the other side of the pattern that you're going to cut out. So this will connect with this flipped, if that makes any sense. So don't panic if you see a pattern that you print off with all these little letters and you think, what's going on here? Just E will connect with E when it becomes foam, D will connect with D, and so on, and we'll compress it into a shape. If you'd rather draw those letters on your thing as you go, that's a very good idea. So for example, here we've got A and A, so I'm just going to put an A here and an A here so that I know that these two parts are going to be put together. Okay, so I'm just going to do that, an X here because an X is going there, and then a B here because I know this little thing is going to be cut out and put together, an E, I mean it doesn't really look like an E, but I'll know, here, and then a D for this one so that I know what bit is connecting where. This is a mouth here. This is going to be the chin, so we're going to connect that to the other part of the chin. This is the neck, so we can ignore it. And this is the back of the head now. And back to C here. I'm sorry, I'm a left-hander, so I might be in your way, but C here, and then all these bits connect together. So if that's more helpful to you to note that all down onto the pattern as you draw it, then please do. But if this makes you incredibly confused, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out anyway, don't panic. If you can't see the vision of how this weird shape becomes anything of importance, bear with me because we will figure it out and walk through it together very slowly. But I'm just drawing out one side of my muzzle here now. These lines are the same as these lines on the muzzle pattern, which basically means that that's going to be connected together. Now I've done that the wrong way around here, but that's what it's going to look like. This is going to connect to the head here. These F's here mean that it's going to get folded and go together, so we get this lovely rounded muzzle shape. X means it's going to connect to another part, and then the G's here mean that once again this tiny little thing is just going to be pinched shut, and then this is the actual mouth section here. So that's all that that means. So I'm going to draw these out again flipped, and then I shall get back to you. Okay, so I've got all my shapes together here, and here is where it gets interesting. Now I've done one side just to give you a vision and a vibe of what we're going for here. I've put all these pieces together where it says to connect them, and I've come up with this sort of curved skull shape, so you can already see that we're at the beginnings of our head, right? So we've got this bit, and then I've curved this muzzle bit as well, this H thing here. This attaches with this. So you can see here, this is the perfect little alcove for our muzzle to sit, and once that's connected, we just need one on the other side, and you'll have a full skull of a dinosaur dragony being. You see how that works like that? This is one of those things where this is up to my personal preference. You totally don't have to do this. Essentially, because I don't like using those big sort of bad boy glues, you know, the cementy ones, I much prefer to use fabric glue, and then for an extra measure and the fact that I'm paranoid, I will then sew up behind it so that it doesn't come undone. You can see here on this one I've done exactly the same thing. I've glued it together and then I've stitched it together for good measure, because my old studio used to be in a flat, and if you don't have good ventilation, it's really nasty stuff to use. And quite frankly, I think even when I get to stages where I have better ventilation, I would much rather rely on something just a bit safer and nicer, because you're not always going to want to use toxic cement glues all the time. So this is completely fine, and I promise you it will stay together and it does work, but that's why I add the extra stitch, just for my paranoia, so that I can sleep at night. Bring that spreader to me. Thank you. I have literally just got back from moving everything, so it is a little bit everywhere. You should see behind you. I won't show you. So I've just, don't show them. So I've just got a scrap of foam here, and I'm going to empty a little bit of glue onto this scrap of foam so that we can really get started and coat it generously. So we can see where our shapes are going to connect, and I've also got my trusty pins here that I don't treat very well. Now these pins are covered in glue and they barely work as pins anymore, but this is what I use them for, so it's totally fine. But I would recommend getting some pins that you don't necessarily care about. It's up to you. You can either get a sewing needle really gluey or other needles really gluey. The choice is yours. So I'm going to start here. You can see C, you can see C and C. You can see that the two C's go together, so that's what I'm going to start with first. And I'm going to get a little bit of my glue on this trusty little PVA thing that looks like I've stolen it from a school, and I'm just going to coat both sides in my fabric glue here. Try and be a tiny bit generous with it if you can. The more the merrier, I say, and as it dries, it might just take a bit of time to get really tacky. And now that I've put glue on these two C's, you'll see that I'm going to press it down like so. Now if this was cement glue, you'd be able to literally press it down, curl it in, and it would stay still. But because we're not using that, we just have to go a little bit further, which is why I get the pins. So I get the pins and I push them through, kind of one down, one up, one down, just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. We need just a little bit of extra support. That's C done. That's C done. We're gonna move on to the B's. BB. So we've got our two little bits here, B and B, connect them together the same way, and you can see how it's kind of mimicking what cement glue would do and keeping it nicely in place, and we're not getting it blowing apart. Because if you were to just put the glue on it, it would fall apart because it's just too heavy for it to have a chance to connect. So we're just giving it a little extra boost to encourage it to stay together. If you see an X, ignore it, because that means that we're attaching it to another side of a skull. But if you see a letter that's not X, connect it. Just like that. So that's our A done. And then we've got the E's and the D's. So I'm going to move on to the E, a little bit in this crevice here. And then last but not least for this piece is the D's. And hey presto, we've got something that looks exactly like this. So we can see that together it's starting to become scully. And we're now going to put the H together so that it looks like this. So once again, I'm just going to connect everywhere where there's a letter and I'm going to press it together and pierce it. There we go. So this muzzle side connected with this muzzle side will look like this. How fun. And then that will go like this so that you've got a muzzly skull. Ideally, if you can, and you're following this method and ideas, I would leave this to dry for a day. It probably doesn't need a day, but I just kind of want to be safer than sorrier. What's the correct expression? Safe, sorry, than safe. Safe and then sorry, sorry than safe. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather be safe than sorry. What happened there? Usually I do this in the evening, and then by the time I've woken up the next day, it's ready for me to sew and attack. While we wait for these pieces to dry, these pieces are already dry, so I'm gonna start to take out the pins. It might be a bit laborious, and it also might be a little bit tricky, but just persevere. If it's a little bit stuck and I can't really get my fingers under, I'm just gonna use the table to press down on the needle so that it unpinches itself, and then it can come out really easily. Make sure that you've got all the needles out before you progress further. The pins have been removed, and I'm going to show you a little bit of how I connect it together. So you can see here, every single line essentially is going to be stitched up. If I refer you to our finished model, we've got all these lines here, and that is all the curvatures, all the C's and the D's and the A's and the E's I've sewn together, and then I've sewn both sides of the pattern on as well. We want to stitch all of these bits to make sure that they're not going to come apart, and then after we've done that, we want to stitch these two pieces together here so that we've got a full skull. So all I would do for that is get a thread. It doesn't have to be the colour that you're planning the fabric to be, it can be any colour at all, and then a needle that you don't really care about. I've got like this thicker one here, which is going to be much easier to go through the foam. It's just a case of bringing that needle up from the bottom and going back in through that seam, and then once again rinse and repeating that action all the way up so it's properly connected, and there is absolutely no way that any of these little pieces can come apart, because the glue is good, but what we don't want is over time, as people use it and emote with it, for it to get worn. So this is just to ensure longevity. Okay, so that's an example for what you're going to do, and then I'm just going to show you how to connect the muzzle as well. So to connect the skull, we can see that we've got the word muzz here, and then this little weird H-y thing is the muzzle. It's got this long stitch over the center, and that mimics the H. You can see how this is actually this right here, just like that. So this line, you want to make sure is in the middle here and connecting to your head like so. And to do that, I'm just going to start by getting our glue once again. We've glued the muzzle on, and this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to connect this together so that it stays with a stitch exactly like this. So you want to do it on every little bit that you can see. And now I'm going to stitch together this tiny little bit here, which was, I believe, the G's, this tiny little bit here, and this tiny little bit here, the F's. So I'm going to stitch these two bits together so that the muzzle kind of curves around a little bit more. And once you've sewn all these lines together, you'll have something like this, which is 1/2 of our muzzle head shape. Now is the time to do the other side. All I'm doing right now is pinning this bit together because it's still wet, but I do want to give you the example of what it would look like when you put your bits together. Imagine this is already dry and stitched together as well. The next stage is to connect both pieces together so that you've got one lovely little muzzle skull shape. So to do that, we've got a pretty clear example of where it needs to be connected. And I'm going to start by getting our trusty glue again. I might need more actually. I'm just going to coat it. I'm just going to absolutely coat it all the way along here. And that's the top of the head and the muzzle. And this bit here is the chin. So we don't need to worry about this bit because that's going to be the open mouth section, this sort of triangle here. But this is going to be the chin. So that's got to be connected as well. So I'm also going to add a bit of glue to the shin. We're going to do our lovely method of stabbing and sewing. So I'm going to get my skull on the other side and I'm going to line it up to where I'm sure that it's as even as I can possibly make it. Might be a bit tricky to start with, but the more you pin, the easier it's going to be. You see this cross here, lining all these bits up as best I can because they are meant to be the same pattern, just inverted. So make sure that it lines up on each section as much as it possibly can. And then as we get to the muzzle, you can see that the head comes in a little bit. So I'm bringing that muzzle out here and pinching that bit in there. And then I'm going to get the end of the muzzle to make sure that I've got the distance right. And I'm going to pin from the bottom upward. And finally, we've got the little bit of chin here. And I'm just going to do the same thing, line it up so that I'm pretty certain that I've got the right amount of distance and just begin stabbing away. And you should have something that looks like this, which is a muzzle skull. And I would leave this to dry. Truly leave this to dry for at least a few hours, if not overnight, if you can help it. You can see the difference. So we've got this bit nicely gluing and drying together, stabby stabby, and then we've got this bit unstabbed and sewn together as one. So once this dries, you can sew it up and you'll have this. And that is how you make a muzzle skull. I'm so excited to have started our new journey with our new dragon puppet. And he really, really does need a name. This is the last chance we're gonna have for you to put your suggestion in on what you think he should be called. So if you do have an idea for our sleepy dragon, please put it down below. And I hope you enjoyed today. If you did enjoy today and you found it relaxing in any way, then please subscribe and ring that bell so that you can be told when we next upload another session. I really hope you enjoyed today and I shall see you in the next one. Thank you.